Hi, hi, you guys. Long time no see, or since last week. How is everybody? Hey, love. How's everybody feeling today? Hey, boo. Whenever you are ready to come in, I'm gonna see if some more people are coming in because I haven't went live in a minute. The energy is thick. What that mean? Like thick how? We do have some solar flares happening right now. We got some solar flares going on. I definitely feel that I've been moody, but I've been purging through journaling. That's a fact. This whole week, literally from Sunday up until yesterday, I was definitely feeling some pretty heavy energy. And not necessarily my energy, because sometimes we be feeling stuff and it's not ours. It's just like a collective buildup, you know. Let me get my good sis to come in here. Yeah, so hold on. I thought I accepted it. Me and what? Oh, there you are. Hey, Sue.
Hey.
Sick.
Hold on. What you say?
Beautiful.
You too. Thank you.
So we're on. I did. Well, I was doing it 3 days with my family, and I still been eating kind of like big raw right now. So I feel good.
Good. Good.
But
I haven't fasted anything.
you just look good.
Too low. I don't know what's going on. Hold on. Give me one.
So for everybody, she froze herself or something. So yeah, sometimes I feel collective energy on your own. So for whoever said felt thick, it could be solar flares, could be purging, just right about it. I'm on my last day. You did it too. I love that. Okay, so tonight, y'all, we are going to be talking about sex. Let me put in sex and what do we say? What's the title?
Sexual energy and creative power.
And it. How?
I don't know why it seemed like. Okay, y'all, tell me if it's just my phone or if it's happening for y'all. But like you're going in and out a little bit.
Okay. Hold on.
It might just be me.
Am I going in and out?
Baba, Solara's going in and out. He ain't even doing what he's supposed to be doing.
You ain't even group, bro.
No.
Oh, it says that I am. Yes.
Do you have all your apps closed?
I ain't even did that. Hold on.
But sometimes they can be open from just like forever ago. That's what happens on mine.
Hold on. Is it still choppy?
It doesn't seem like it now. No.
I wonder.
It's an echo.
I don't know what to do about that. Turn off.
I've been having a hard time hearing her then.
Okay, is this choppy?
No, it sounds okay. I won't be able to tell probably until you get into the dialogue.
Okay. And if people screen record it, it can mess too. Who screen recording this?
Hey,
If y'all screen recording, thank y'all because that's cute. But if it's messing with audio, don't do that.
that's interesting.
So, yeah. So this topic, sexual energy and creative power, is exciting. I'm gonna tell my side of like why I wanted to talk about this. So I'm gonna be very transparent with y'all. Okay. Um, I noticed that when I'm getting into a creative rhythm, I find that my sexual energy starts to rise, right? And when I feel like it starts to rise, I'm like, damn, I feel like I need to do something about I need to do something about this. And it's always when I'm like creating content for Instagram or if I'm like doing something for my social media platforms, like the energy feels so good and I'm so excited because sexual energy is creation, right? And so at first, like a while ago, I was like, damn, I probably need to, do some things to release this energy. But then I would find out that if I did, something to release the energy, then I wouldn't want to work on the stuff that I had in front of me, like my my creative process. I didn't want to finish my content. Like my energy was focused on something else. And so I was like, man, when you feel that sexual energy starting to rise, let's do something about it, like in a creative way that actually like goes long term. Not to say, because masturbation can be definitely powerful for manifesting things, especially when you're doing it with intention. But definitely when I feel that energy rising, I'm like, I just keep on working like extra hard. And so then it made me think about how a lot of people probably feel this. They feel this creative energy that is rising within them, and they feel like they're supposed to have sex to release this energy. Not to say it's nothing wrong with that, but what I'm saying is sometimes, especially if you're a creative person, you can use that energy, channel that energy to produce a really great product instead of having mindless sex or sex with somebody that you really don't even have a connection with, because sex is for creation, right? You want to
So
back out?
yeah, so what's interesting is I love how you say when you feel this creative energy and you want to have sex, you're equating it to sexual energy.
Mm-hmm.
And for you, I believe that's really, really beautiful. And I like that you said it like that, because it makes me wonder, can people truly identify the difference between what their creative energy is and what their sexual energy is? Because while they're still coming from the same areas, some people may just immediately equate it to sexual energy and not look at it at all as creative energy,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Look at me.
So yeah, so I don't know if everybody is like, oh, I'm feeling some kind of way, like it's time for me to create something, right? Or are they like, I'm feeling some kind of way, I need to get me some?
Yes, I need to release, because that's what I was doing at first. I was like, I'm hot in the pants. Something needs to happen. And yeah, I'm about to, please myself. But then I started to realize, like, damn, if I do that, not all of the time, but I'm like, if I do that, then I don't necessarily want to work on the stuff that I was working on. I don't have the same drive, the same momentum. So now, and I just noticed that it only starts when I'm doing something that is creative. So this is very relevant also because we're, like I said on my last live, we're having North Node go into Aries, which Aries is a very strong, powerful sexual energy. So there's going to be a lot of sexual tension that as a collective we could feel. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like, it could be a lot of not unnecessary sex, because sex is beautiful and it should be experienced and it should be had. But sometimes, not all the time. You just don't,
Right now it goes to that interesting place that we're in, where we have so many people who are tapping into manifestation, tapping into energy healing, chakra healing, their body, right? But then we have a whole lot of other people, another demographic of us who are tapping into sexual energy for all the wrong reasons and over sexualizing. And I think that's the fine point that we have between that root chakra energy and that sacral energy. Because that root chakra energy is super lustful. It wants some kind of, and that root chakra energy is also could be based out of trauma. So it's like there's this hella root chakra energy that's going on, but then we have this very sensual, sacred, sacral energy going on at the same time. So it's like knowing the difference between what that energy is that's alive and it's been awakened in your body is going to be pivotal to how you use your creation or what you're able to create.
That's a fact. And the root chakra is ruled by Aries, isn't it?
I believe so. You tell me.
It is. Yeah, that goes hand in hand, which we will talk about in our chakra cosmology class. Boom, bam. Yeah, I wasn't ready for that. So yeah, the making sure that you are utilizing that with intention, and that takes an amount of self-awareness is basically what I'm trying to say. So me knowing myself and having self-awareness and like sitting with myself and realizing like I'm feeling this energy start to rise, what do I want to do with this, and giving myself an option has really been helpful. And I feel like y'all can see it when I'm producing more content, I'm getting on here and I'm doing more lives. I am channeling and transmuting that energy to give birth to something that we can all take a part of for the higher good, right? Okay.
So what's interesting for me is, so sacral, anything that has to do with sacral work or sexual energy, it's very sacred to me. It's very dear to me. Dealing as a woman who once had womb cancer, right? Had a particular womb cancer. And so when I think about creative energy, it's what helps me nourish my womb. It's what helps me nourish that space. It's like, I feel like if I'm sewing, which I love to sew, not necessarily professionally, but for my friends and, you know, for myself and just to get better at this particular craft. But whenever I find myself sewing, I feel good. Like I feel it feeding my creative energy. And of course that may feed another energy as well, but I definitely feel it filling my creative energy. Whenever I dance, like I do African dance on a weekly basis, and whenever I go dance, I feel like I'm feeding my soul. I feel that feeling in my sacral. So it's like using that for me, creative energy is also a very healing tool to keep myself aligned and keep my womb chakra balanced.
Ooh, so that's like basically pulling the energy up from the root into the sacral is what you're saying, right?
Yeah, yeah. And it keeps everything nice and balanced. It keeps me nice and flowy, but it also feeds my sexual energy as well.
I love that. Somebody else said that when they start to feel that energy, they invest in dancing also.
Yes, yes.
Let me see. Somebody said I got my journal in my rose.
My rose.
Y'all, rose daydream.
I saw that.
I know that's right. She said she's abstinent right now. I love that. Would a fibroid mean creative energy is blocked?
Whew. So a fibroid can mean a couple of things. When we're talking about sacral chakra and we're talking about sexual energy or our sexual organs, we're not just talking about sex. We're talking about our feelings. This is the area, our sacral is the area that our feelings are developed in, and it's developed between the ages of 7 and 14. And that's when you learn how to express yourself. And so if you're having a hard time with expression, if you're dealing with overexpression, not speaking up for yourself or anything like that, that can begin to cause womb concerns as well. It doesn't necessarily have to do with your sexual energy, but it can be your creative energy also. So we have to think sacral chakra is sexual energy, it's creative, it's feeling, it's giving birth, it's all of those different things. So you want to look at all of those and kind of assess yourself, which you can do in the chakra cosmology class. But assess yourself so that you can better understand what may be going on in your womb. So when we think about Black and brown women, right, we have the highest rates of polycystic ovarian syndrome, of womb cancers, of endometriosis, of all these different things that affect our womb. But we also have a common theme in our lives where we, at one point or another, potentially dealt with some kind of sexual abuse, or our feelings were shut down, or we were overexpressive with our feelings. More than likely, our feelings were shut down at an early age. And so we never learned how to properly express ourselves. So we're not using, and then a lot of women not doing the things that they love. They're not using their creative energy at all. So here they are with all this creative tension built up in their womb.
And that makes me think, because I was just thinking about men when you're talking about women, and how, you know, men, they have like really strong sex drives, and like their energy is like that Mars energy to conquer, to take down stuff. And I feel like a lot of men, especially Black men, they, not all, but some of them don't necessarily know what they're good at, or know how to like express themselves outside of sex sometimes, like being overly, or like them being over sexualized, and feeling like that's the only way that they can express themselves. And then you see a lot of men who have a lot of children, because really they got a lot of creative energy. Not to say, you know, of course their kids are supposed to be here, but like, yeah, they have a lot of creative energy, and maybe they don't know how to necessarily tap into that, which is why I be saying that men need this class that I know my brother is in here watching. I know he irritated.
Yeah. It's interesting you said that, because I feel like when it comes to businesses, and when our brothers are on their stuff, they are really, really on their stuff. Yeah. And when they're not, it's like the middle area is very gray. Like they're either on it or they're not, right? And when you're talking about feelings and sexual energy and creative energy all coming from the same chakra area, right? What happens is, between those ages that I mentioned, when that feeling, learning how to express your feelings is developed between 7 and 14, we have to think what a lot of our men are told. You know, suck it up, don't cry. You ain't supposed to be crying. Be a man, be this, be that. So they have a lot of things going on inside of them that they are just now starting to get to a place where they have safe spaces to express what they're feeling. But if they never get to that place where they can safely express what's going on in their life, how they're feeling, their emotions, then that sexual energy is just going to build up, and that's when they are sexualized. They're over sexualizing themselves.
And then, you know, a whole lot of babies out here.
But since they're not making the babies by themselves,
I know, I'm saying for both in sometimes, you know what I'm saying, not necessarily knowing their sometimes they're full. I'm trying to find the right way to say it without making it sound ugly, because I'm not trying to sound ugly, but I'm saying a lot of people haven't been able to explore themselves, to figure out what they like, what they're good at, how to express or create themselves, and so, or create something. So this energy that they have inside of them is just like, well, I'm supposed to release it this way. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. You know what I'm saying? And then you have kids, and it's like, now they got to figure out a way to do it, and it's just a whole cycle of things.
You're triggering so many thoughts for me, triggering in a positive way, but you're triggering so many thoughts for me, because within our community, our creative hack, or whatever it is that we're naturally good at, a lot of times it isn't honed on in when we're children. So that leaves us unaware, unsure where our creativity lies, you know. I know when I was doing music and I was growing up, my mom used to tell me, and she was so innocently saying it, but she's like, okay, so what's your backup plan? That's a pipe dream. And that's what she would say, right? That's a pipe dream, doing music. And I'm like, but this is what I'm passionate about. This is what I love, you know? And so we have children that are growing up, and while no, everybody's not going to be a basketball player, or everybody's not going to be a singer or entertainer and these different things that a lot of us want to be when we're growing up. But I wanted to be, wanting to be a rapper, I wanted to be a mortician. And my family...
Here she go.
I did. I wanted to be a mortician when I was like 9 years old. What?
She got Scorpio placements, y'all.
Yeah, I wanted to be a mortician, and my dad is like, Khadidra, like, You know, that's strange. Do you even know what they do? I'm like, yeah, I absolutely know what they do. But it was the fact that it was kind of looked at like this child is crazy because she wants to be a mortician. So that wasn't something that was necessarily cultivated. I don't know if my parents knew how to navigate,
Yeah.
cultivate me to want to do that. But
Yeah, girl.
to my point is, a lot of times when children have these big dreams that seem bigger than life, their parents don't try to cultivate those ideas for them, which leaves us as adults confused about what we enjoy.
So we have a suppressed sexual energy, a suppressed root chakra energy. Am I saying that right?
Well, we would have a suppressed sacral, because sacral is where your creation comes from. It's what you're naturally good at. So if we're having a hard time with creating things or creating our environment or creating or being creative, right? Because being artistic is being creative, being able to write is being creative, coming up with ideas, that's all being creative. But if your ideas were always shot down when you were a child, how likely are you going to be comfortable, and confident in coming up with these ideas when you have this loop of what you can't do running in your head from your childhood?
Damn, I was gonna say, so damn, where did my thought go? I already said about suppressing your creative energy. Dang, Khadija, you was talking fast and
I'm
I was
sorry.
listening. I forgot what I was.
Girl, I
Oh.
be having to write real quick, like, okay, she said.
But it was something about just like kids, their value. You as a child, like if your parents shoot your creative energy or your dreams down, then you have a hard time valuing yourself. So then how do you find value? A lot of times in our community especially, it's already over sexualized, right? So then we find value in how didn't we talk about this?
We were kind of gonna go there, but I told you we weren't gonna have that conversation until today.
Take it from here, because you said something about like us finding value in the way that we perform in the bedroom, right, or something like that.
Yeah. So because our conversation kind of came through when we were talking about that unfortunate situation where the police came in on the mom who was trying to hurt her children, her child,
Yeah.
right? And you were saying you were kind of saddened by it. You're like, I just wish that women in particular knew how to utilize their sexual energy for positive creation instead of having multiple children that they can't care for or that they don't want. And I was saying, well, when we're talking about sexual energy and the way women use it, sometimes depending on what happened to that woman as a child can have a huge effect on the way she perceives how she's supposed to use her sexual energy.
Yeah.
So if she had some kind of sexual trauma, then she's going to, it could be one or two things. She could either close herself all the way off, but what usually happens is women become promiscuous and they equate their self-worth to the way that they perform in bed.
Yeah. Sorry, that was a long comment. So
what did they say? It looked like a question.
Yeah, I was gonna read it after I finish.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Y'all know my thoughts be floating into the ethers. Yeah, so I thought that was really interesting when you said about the way that we perform sexually, because we see that just in our culture with the music that we have. Everything is extremely over sexualized in our music. I feel like our music is like, when we talk about sex, it sounds so crazy sometimes.
In the music?
It's like, yes, it can sound so like aggressive and hard, and that's like the main subject that we talk about in music. So that's another way of like feeling like that's how we're supposed to be valued. And then it's like, you're doing something creative, you're creating the music, but you're also creating music for the masses and for children and their minds. Because I think about when I was in high school and it was Pretty Ricky playing, and all of the sexual energy that was dropped into my head. Okay, listening to those types of songs and daydreaming about all of these things, because music is so powerful.
What? You're in a chokehold.
It did. And the type of parties, like, y'all know, everybody that's on here, the type of parties we had in high school with the lights off and the music playing and the boys dancing all sexual and stuff like that. That's just another way of like you know, a way of like expressing ourselves, but everything was extremely over sexualized. It was the way that we felt like we could perform, like you said, and find value in that, instead of figuring out how to channel or transmute that into something else. Not to say it couldn't still be that, but also like channeling into something else also. 112 peaches and cream.
That's what I was just laughing at, that 112. Yeah, you know, I grew up, and the music is really interesting, because I think one of the things that kind of took me, had me feeling like, ooh, there's a lot. And, you know, I'm 40 plus. Mm-hmm. I'm on that side. So a lot of times I'll hear some of the younger generations talking about how the music, our music from the 80s and the 90s and early 2000s, it had its raunch too, right? Because two things come to mind. So I grew up on that horrible but great music of the Dog Pound, right? And when I think about that one verse where Corrupt is like, I can't, if it's so bad, the first line of it is just like he just going in, you know. And then Lil Kim, look, I was a teenager when Lil Kim, what was that? What was the Pink album? I can't think of it right off the top, but that was my stuff. Lil Kim and Dog Pound and The Chronic and all that.
Don't it?
But we
telling a story though, still, even though it was
that's what I was about to say. So the songs were very sexual. Even when you go back to Slick Rick, like it's a song by Slick Rick called Indian Girl that is like mind blowing. Like, what the hell did he just say? But
I've heard that song.
Yes. La Bella Mafia came next. That's the second album. But Hardcore, it was Lil Kim Hardcore. But what happened back then when I was growing up is that there was a balance in the music. So while at the same time we had Lil Kim and we had the Dog Pound, we also had Lauryn Hill, we also had Fugees, we also had Nas and Dead Presidents and all these different positive rap coming out. So you had a choice. Right now, the choice is very slim. You know, you can find your independent artists who aren't signed to major labels, and they have some really good music. Shout out to the fam Lava and Free, right?
Yeah.
They have some great music for this generation. But what we're being fed is not necessarily that. I'll never forget seeing, and it was posted like a couple of times, where people were like, Throat Baby is a love song. And I was like, where? What? They was like, it's really romantic. It's a love song. And I was like, that y'all don't believe that, do y'all? Like,
yeah,
just how he come in with the song. I feel like I can't even say those words on here. Like, it make me feel some kind of way. Like, that's a love song. I mean, I liked it a little bit. I ain't gonna lie, but you know, I'm still listening to Fela Kuti over here more likely than not, instead of something like that. So it's what. Huh?
I was gonna say their house is so colorful. They listen to Fela Kuti and it's so beautiful in the morning. The energy, it's just so beautiful.
Thank you.
My bad.
Thank you. No, but I mean, it's what we're being fed right now. You know, the whole thing, like we're talking about last week, I guess everybody was up in debates about the whole Keke Palmer thing. And more than the debate about if her boyfriend was wrong or if she was wrong and whatever, I was like, sit your whole ass out. Like, can we start, like, man or no man? I guess I come from a different generation where, you know, you can be sexy, but you don't gotta have no thong with your booty cheeks out.
Yeah, I haven't really processed any of that, honestly, because I was in my own world. I thought that she was on there singing Usher, Let It Burn, on her page. I was like, oh, she a real Virgo. She's so petty. That's funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, I haven't like super looked into that. I just figured that was a theme of Venus shadow period before we go into retrograde. But yeah, I see from both perspectives, like how that could have been perceived, especially like all of the stuff that she was doing before, you know, Usher came up to her and like, you know, all of that. But I also see the other part of her being like her own person and wanting to embrace her sensual side and everything. So it's like, I get both sides. It's not necessarily like I'm super on one or the other, you know, but I'm going to get to this comment.
Okay.
What are your thoughts on when part of our conscious community says that Janelle Monáe's behavior is Shakti goddess energy versus the other part of the community that says it's a Jezebel spirit? Jezebel spirit.
Do I go?
You can go first. I feel like you got the words.
So a lot of times I can be very much so in my Libra self and see both sides of it, right? But we're also talking about the music industry. Mm-hmm. And I think it's a combination of both. And there are prerequisites in order to stay relevant in the music industry that are not enforced by the artist. So my thing is, I wonder if some of that is enforced by her label to over-sexualize herself, because that wasn't who she was. Mm-hmm. But I also think that, you know, the older we get, I don't know what happens. You just be like hot in the ass. Like, and I'm like, okay, so these girls right now, they're in their 20s and stuff, and they real, you know, but then that energy begins to transmute once you start getting around to your 40s, and it becomes very sensual and sexual. I did think it was kind of cringe for me. Like, do what you want, sis. I don't care. I don't have a leg in that particular race. Mm-hmm. But it was just odd. Like, okay. And I'm going to go back to the Lil' Kim thing. Lil' Kim had her little top on when she went to one of the awards. It was a bodysuit. She had the pasty over her nipple, right? But it was a part of the image that she particularly portrayed whenever she came out.
Right.
One of the shots that I saw, one of the videos I saw with Janelle Monáe, was she was on stage, she was singing Yoga, I think her song Yoga, mm-hmm. and then she just randomly, awkwardly lifted her shirt to say, you can't, you know, get off my areola. Mm-hmm. And so it wasn't like, it was an awkward place in the performance. It didn't seem well thought out. It just seemed like, I'm gonna rebel against any and everything, mm-hmm. And put myself out there. I don't know. It's some weird energy around that for me. I don't have a when it comes to Hollywood, I just say all the world's a stage. So I don't know. I don't trust it. I don't know what to think of it. There are so many different underlying variables that we couldn't even potentially begin to get in here.
Mm-hmm. I think that Janelle Monáe, when she first came out, I feel like I liked, you know, her image with the black and white and the suits and all that. I feel like she might have felt like she had to suppress her identity because of her sexuality, and maybe she hid it at first because it wasn't like out there that, you know, she was into women like that. And so I feel like that was her way of like wearing suits, was like maybe to give a masculine energy, because she was still probably trying to get comfortable with her sexuality. From an astrological point of view, let me look up her chart, but you know, I believe in the progressed chart stuff. I'm gonna always bring it back to astrology, but she could have, you know, progressed into another sign that is a little bit more sexual and mm-hmm. free and wants to rebel. And because it's a time where, you know, you can embrace who you truly are. It's a time where you can do that. She feels more embraced because of that, you know, like, oh, I can like, you know, who I like, and I don't have to identify by gender or whatever. And so she's like, now she might be truly feeling like she's free and she's herself for the first time. You know what I'm saying? Like maybe only behind closed doors or to her, because she kind of got like a real mysterious energy to her. Mm-hmm. Maybe that's not something that she shared with the world. And now she's starting to share her full self with the world. And so it might not be something that's like alarming to her, but to us, it's like, girl, you was just wearing full, you know, 3-piece suit. Yeah. We don't understand. We don't get what's going on. Let me see. I think she might be a Sagittarius. But yeah, so that could be who she's always truly been. She just was having some issues with learning how to embrace. She's a Cancer. Wait. Yeah, she's Cancer with a. No, wait. Hold on, y'all. I'm trying to.
Yeah, it's interesting. What I do know is when you think about the direction in which music is going, we're talking about mainstream music, and going back to this, I don't believe in coincidences, and there is a common denominator where sex is selling right now.
Yeah,
You
sex,
know,
and it could be.
sex is what's selling right now. And it could be a decision that she made on her own. It could be something that was discussed with her and her label. But what, girl?
Okay, so she's a Sagittarius and she's a Cancer moon. And her Venus is in Scorpio. So
Mm,
yeah, she's always had like I figured I was like she has to have Scorpio on something because she has this mysterious like sexual energy to her even when she wore a suit, like you could see it in her eyes, you know. So I
mm-hmm.
feel like right now she might just be living in like that full Venus and Scorpio type of energy because she feels free and the culture supports who
Yeah,
she
yeah.
probably has behind closed doors. So it's like the timing of it is like the industry is super sexualized. She's, you know, getting older, and she was talking about how she's gained weight, and she was like the suits was starting to feel kind of tight on her because she gained weight. So she
I
was like
feel you, sis.
wearing these suits like this the way that I used to anymore. So maybe feeling like she had to change up her energy and adapt her style because her body is starting to fill out a lot more. You know what I'm saying? Or not you get what I'm saying? Like, okay, now I feel like I'm comfortable with myself. Like I want to show this off. She got great boobs, by the way.
She does. Are you reading?
No. What happened?
You know, I always mess the comments up. So just scroll up.
Uh, that sounds like a thirst for attention.
No, go. Not that one. It's the same person, but good for you, pretty bird aromatic. I don't know if I'm misreading that, but yeah. That's very interesting.
That's a lot of comments.
Okay.
Since what's going on? What you mean? What you talking about? You just came into your Venus and Scorpio energy.
I was like, am I reading that correctly? It said they broke their 3-year celibacy. Well, damn.
Ew.
Okay.
I thought I saw Sagittarius. It says what?
Bob cracking up.
Okay, so that's an interesting perspective, right? She kept it on the DL, played it safe. Now I feel like she's just more comfortable being herself, and I think that that's the thank you. I think that that's the real issue, and that goes into Keke Palmer too.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like Keke is growing, and how old is she? She's like 30 now.
I'm guessing. I don't know.
Girl, she just had a baby, and so she's filled out, and she is very excited about her body and probably wants to show it off. And so I feel like the issue is like the world trying to maybe control and be like, you can't change, you can't grow, you're doing this because of that, which I do understand, like the music industry, like it is a stage, but at the same time people do just kind of progress and want to try different shit.
Listen, so I'm gonna be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Straight up transparent, right? So we just talked about two women who are typically petite-ish women, right? That got to a place where they done thickened up a little bit. They find they feeling themselves. Mm-hmm. Sis, I feel you. Because I've been petite my whole life, my whole entire life. And these last 2 years, things just was like popping out.
Bam.
Right? I'm telling you. I'm waiting. Spirit knew not to give me all of that while I was single.
Keke was a conservative Virgo. Now
Keke wasn't really conservative, I don't think. She just, because it was a big conversation about that on Facebook, and she wasn't necessarily conservative. Someone was showing, they pulled up a bunch of different pictures of how, I mean, she didn't have them cheeks out for a minute. Yeah. It's just she put them out a little bit more and feeling herself a little bit more since she didn't have the baby and she got all this body. Mm-hmm. But I don't think she was conservative. She was a child. Yeah, that's true. She grew up in the public eye. So we've watched her transform over the years into who she is now.
Yeah, let me look at her chart. I know she is definitely a Virgo, so, and the more that people criticize her, the more she definitely gonna dress like that because
she don't care. She's good, you know. And I think that's the thing. Like, while I personally wouldn't wear my whole boom boom cheeks out like that. Mm-hmm. Do what you want to do with yourself. Yeah. You know, I do say that we have to be mindful of the energy that we put out, because it's just the law of vibration. Whatever vibration we're putting out, we're going to receive something similar back. So to think that we're not is kind of asinine. It's what are you putting out there? That doesn't mean that anybody has rights or should be able to have, free reign to your body or do what they want to you. But we still have to be mindful of the energy that we're putting out and how often we're putting that particular energy out. But, yeah, like somebody said, like Suki, it seems like with Sukihana, she doesn't respect herself. So there's a huge level of lack. There's a huge lack of respect that people have for her. And it's unfortunate.
Yeah, so with Sukihana, she's interesting because I started watching her interviews. First of all, she's really funny. And Scorpio also. I think she's hilarious. I think that she is somebody who Scorpios like to transmute negative situations into something that works for them. So I feel like she knows the stuff to say to get clickbait, and she likes to shake the table a little bit. And some of the stuff that she says, I'm like, y'all know she not serious, but I think that she likes to get a rise out of people to be like when she was like, oh yeah, I like doing this to people. And I think she was on Jason Lee's show or something. And he was like, are you for real? But I could just read her energy where she was just like, I'm doing it because the more uncomfortable you feel, the more I'm going to keep saying this stuff because I want to kind of, do something that's non-traditional and that gives clickbait. But I also think that she has a torn energy in between her because I know that like she at one point in time she was doing like, oh, I just want to focus on like, I don't know, spiritual stuff and consciousness and stuff like that. But she also has children and she talk about how she from the hood. So it's like that survival mindset. And it's like, again, I value one thing I know is that sex sells. And this is something that I have been taught to value within myself. And so I can make money like this easily. You know what I'm saying? Like this costume that I wear, but it's not necessarily who I am when I'm at home with my kids. I don't know, I like looked into her that deeply, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, she's definitely learned how to transmute that energy into something that's profitable for her, for sure.
Yeah, and what I love about our conversations, and for anybody who's watching, Solaris and I decided to do these because our side conversations when we're on the phone are really interesting. But what I was going to say is I love how our conversations always go back to some particular science or some particular system like astrology or human design. Because as you said that, and we're talking about Scorpio energy, and I have a lot of my Mercury's in Scorpio, so my mouth is it can be a little, like, whoa. And there is something in human design. So, there are 64 themes in human design. And number 7 is called the gate of shock. And I have the gate of shock in my chart, which has a lot of Scorpio energy to it. And the gate of shock means that these people, either consciously or unconsciously, depending on where it lays in your chart, these people consciously or unconsciously are known to say shocking things. And for me, it's something that I'm aware of. There are things that I'll probably say and people be like, Khadidra, and I'm aware of it, but I do it for shock value. And I do it to catch attention, or not necessarily to catch attention, but if we're, for example, in Sister Circle, and I know I need to get everybody aligned and back centered, I can say something and it's going to bring everybody back like, what you just say, right? So she may have that same gate of the gate of shock, which is, a communal gate, a communication gate with what you say and how you're using your tongue. So she may have that. But one of the things I do know that she says all the time is that the nasty stuff that she talks about, or the sexual stuff that she talks about, is for her man. She always makes a point, and I don't watch her enough, but I know that whenever I've seen, like, I don't follow her or anything, I just, randomly have seen her come up, but she'll say, that's for my man. That's not for everybody. That's for my man.
Yeah. I think she's learned to separate like her personal identity versus like the way that she's perceived in public for profit. So, and that goes into, astrology, like Scorpio rules the underworld and sex work, honestly. And I just pulled up her chart too. So it's not super far fetched that her persona is just naturally like that. You know what I'm saying? For her to be a Scorpio sun, because a lot of the things that she says about herself is like she has, you know, loyal men or, you know, dudes who have helped her with stuff because she's a good listener and she holds space for them. Basically, she's like, it ain't even about sex. Like, if she, once she gets out of the way of saying the goofy shit, she be like, it's not about sex. People know that I'm real and I'm going to be loyal to them and I listen to them and I care and I'm thoughtful. That's what sexual or Scorpio sexual energy is about, is transmuting that. It's not necessarily about that. Even people who work in the sex industry, a lot of times it's not solely just about having sex. It really is about them holding space for their clients and just listening to them and letting them be who they feel like they can't be when they're at home with, you know, they wives, unfortunately, sometimes, because sometimes people don't allow each other to grow in relationships and let them be who they truly are and have their, you know, sexual fetishes or whatever. Which makes me think about that conversation we had before. Damn, what did we say? We were talking. I was saying that it was one of those questions I sent to you and Baba, or maybe just to you. And I was saying, do you think that it's normal for people to? Oh,
I can't pull it up.
It was like something about like if somebody has like a weird sexual fetish, do you think it comes from trauma or do you think it comes from them embracing who they are and that's just, you know, what they like?
So I think everything is circumstantial when we're talking about people. We're so uniquely wired. No person is the same. And the way that we process things is very different from each other.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like when we have to take each individual for themselves and set them apart and really dissect what it is that they've experienced to understand if anything is sexual trauma, if a fetish is sexual trauma. Sometimes people just freaky. You know what I'm saying? Then sometimes, you know, people will take their trauma and transmute that energy into something that could be potentially positive for them or something that they can embrace, you know, but it's really circumstantial to that particular person. Like, I don't I'm laughing. I don't get foot fetishes, right? I don't understand what's sexy about feet. I had to laugh because I try to mess with my husband's feet all the time and he doesn't like it, but it's not a fetish for me. It's just because I know he doesn't want me to do it, so I want to do it, you know? I think that's more
about this.
Huh?
I know he probably like, why are you talking about this?
Because we're talking about all these things, and I laugh because I'm like, but I never understood foot fetishes. But there are people who really get off on seeing feet or, you know, putting feet in their mouth or whatever. Mm-hmm. And I can't imagine personally, if I think about fetishes, that was the first one that came up, but I can't imagine how a foot fetish could potentially be developed out of trauma. Like you got your ass kicked, literally. I don't. I know it's gotta go. I don't know how.
Or maybe
you like, ain't ashamed. Oh, she said I ain't ashamed. That's right.
Let me see. Baba put a question in here. He said, discuss the relationship between sexual energy and Kundalini energy and how it can be used for creation and manifestation. No, she says, but my feet are hella sexy.
but it's not a sexual attraction to the feet. But so you want to go?
I was just thinking about like maybe the foot fetish is I can't really articulate like the why. You think people who have like Pisces placements like because rule the feet, Pisces in medical astrology rules the feet. So maybe somebody who has a particular Pisces energy might like that. Or
that makes sense. See, that makes more sense than a foot fetish being trauma.
Yeah.
To me.
Or, you know, yeah.
But it's
other stuff.
Substantial again.
It's people who like getting their ass beat, you know, it's sexually like flogged. See, or
that might be that right there. I'm gonna go straight to trauma. I'm not bypassing
What
that.
do you think about men who have a lot of money and they're in powerful positions and they feel like they have to be in control all of the time, and so they want to be in the position of feeling weaker or powerless?
So that is some kind of fetish. I don't know. I think it's because they have to control everything all the time that at some point they want to break and they want to feel controlled, but they know that people are intimidated by them, so they don't take that control. So they yearn for it.
Mm-hmm.
They yearn to be controlled. And then there's probably a lot of men or people in that situation that aren't really controlling, but they know how to delegate, right? And so they know how to put things, they're very black and white. They know how to put things into perspective and keep things in order for business. And they really want that. But people are too timid to do it, so they seek out people who are willing to do it, potentially for pay.
My friend said, but what if someone likes getting flogged and they wasn't beat when they were a child? Oh, well, yeah, that's what I just said. Like somebody who might just like the idea of releasing power in some type of way.
So,
like,
and I think that also goes into how we combine these conversations with those different sciences. It could have to do with, where their placements are and how they like, their energy to be manipulated. I do know that.
what?
I don't think, and I'm just laughing because Bob was like, so y'all gonna be talking about sex, huh? But I don't think that someone who likes to be choked necessarily had to be beaten. It may just be one of their kinks, or if somebody is like getting their ass slapped while they doing it, right? I don't feel like they have that's a trauma response to being beaten as a child. I think it's levels to it. When it becomes a problem, when you think that someone has to hit you in order to show you that they love you, that's when it becomes a problem. That's when it's not a fetish. That's just dysfunction.
Wait, somebody said, what if subconsciously they plan out abandonment issues? Like, I got you by the feet, now you're not ever walking away.
But you started the question off with abandonment issues.
Yeah, hold on. I like choking before I was being choked out. I like choking before I was ever choked out. I like choking.
They like sexual choking before someone actually choked. Okay. Baba! Before someone ever choked them out in an abusive way.
So Baba said it's a pain thing as well. It's the want for extremes. Ooh, and Scorpios rule extremes also. All or nothing energy.
Yeah, because sometimes it's that pain and pleasure that can help people get off.
Yeah, so getting flogged or whipped or
what's flogged? I don't know
with the I was gonna say
what that is.
I was gonna tell
somebody put it in the chat. What that mean?
It's like a whip with like the different. They got a tap on it.
Oh, the little tasseled whip.
You know what reminds me? Okay.
Did you say you know what reminds me?
Yeah, I got one. Show. I'm beating ass man. What do you say?
Solaris got one.
That's not far-fetched for me. My Venus is in Scorpio, y'all. It ain't, Anyways, but so I saw a couple. It'd be those videos with couples where it's like awkward, like they're sitting across from each other in a white room. And so this dude was basically like saying that his money is he has a financial dominatrix. And like,
I saw that.
Yeah. And she was like, wait, what you mean? And he was like, well, I give her my money and she tell me what I can, like, let me spend money on my bills.
I saw that.
Yeah. And so, like, what you think that?
What do I think about that?
Yeah. Like,
I think that's great for the financial domination. Girl, get that coin. I mean, what? I'm not mad at her. But the girl who's his girlfriend,
Mm-hmm.
like, nah, you need to be his financial dominatrix.
Yeah.
Not another woman. That's just doing too much.
I wonder why he separates it though. Like on an episode, I like Sex in the City, y'all. And so it's the episode where Charlotte is with her husband.
Is it an older
yeah.
ones? Me too.
When Charlotte is with her husband and he cannot get hard for her. He can't have sex with her. And so she's thinking that it's her. So they go to therapy and then she finds him in the bathroom, you know, pleasing himself to a Playboy magazine. And so he was like, well, you're my wife. Like, I don't want to look at you the way that I look at these women in these magazines. And so like she tries to wear sexy lingerie and he can't separate it. Like he's like, basically he wants her to be like this perfect, like angelic type of energy that he doesn't want to have sex with, but he could.
I remember that.
Yeah. So maybe that's how the dude feels like with financial dominatrix. Like he.
Yeah, that's interesting because, you know, realistically, he should go into whatever relationship he's in, kind of being honest and vulnerable, or just even sharing that with whoever he's gonna be with. Because I don't know too many women who go stick around while you telling them, yeah, all my money go to another woman, but baby, I want to be with you. She got all my money. She gonna tell us what to do. That's not happening. I can see even more so the situation in Sex in the City than I can in that situation. Long ago, I had an awkward situation where it was like I would always catch my ex like masturbating and I would be so confused. Yeah. But men do different things for different reasons. And come to find out, he had gained a lot of weight, so he was insecure. And I was like, it was horribly, you know, that I thought it was funny. But he was like really insecure about his body. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
You know, so it could have something to do with that. Men deal with insecurities just as well, like women do too.
And they just don't know how to articulate it. And we take that very personal as women, like, you know, damn, you pleasing yourself, like I'm not good enough for you.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Damn, so that means that us as women, like, we feel like that's our value too. Like if you're not going to, if you are jacking off and you don't want to have sex with me, then it makes me feel like I'm not valuable enough to you. Like you don't,
or it makes me feel not, it doesn't make me feel sexually appealing to you. If that's the situation, right? Because why do you have to go somewhere else to get your sexual fulfillment when we're partners? Why are we not saying that the relationship is based off of sex, but there needs to be some kind of sexual energy between partners, period. Unless both of y'all just have decided that y'all asexual and that's just, you know, not a thing. But
men, do y'all understand that? Have y'all ever been in a situation like that? And because I know like a lot of women get upset if like we're just gonna be all the way out here with it, but like if a guy doesn't like finish with the woman, you know what I'm saying? Like I know it's a lot of talk about men practicing like semen retention, and I've seen like women like, no, this is what I work for. Like I don't want you to not finish because it makes me feel like I didn't please you. And then some men who don't practice semen retention, but maybe they just don't, and that makes a woman's self-esteem feel kind of low.
Yeah. I think that's where healthy sexual conversations need to occur within relationships, so you can understand what's going on. And it has to be a huge level of honesty, you know, because everybody's not comfortable enough to talk with their partners. They'll be comfortable enough in the act. They'll be comfortable enough when things get heated, but they won't be comfortable enough to have conversations outside of the performance to understand each other sexually. And I think that's what, you know, a lot of people are missing, where that has a huge miscommunication for people. And that's where a woman's gonna feel like, yo, am I doing enough? If you've never had the conversation, then how do you know what he's feeling and what she's feeling? And don't have the conversation in the heat of the moment.
That's true. I think that in the bedroom we should be more open to be like teachable, and sex should be fun. Like sometimes it could be like, you know, passionate, but other times it could be like, let's learn each other and teach each other like how we like to be pleased. It could be teachable, and that could be sexy too. Like
it is.
For one woman, don't necessarily work for me. That's not something that I like. Okay, I need you to do something a little bit different But do you think that that makes men feel some type of way if you give them direction or want to teach them?
I think we could look at it in these questions. I think we could look at it both ways, right? I think it's everybody's so different, and so it's what is the intent in your heart when you are having these conversations with people? Are you saying, nah, nigga, you ain't doing it right, or are you saying, babe, hey, this is what I like? You know what I'm saying? Let me show you this. Touch here, kiss here. Are you doing it that way, or are you just kind of aggressive and standoffish, or off-putting when you have the conversation? So I think whatever intention you go with it in is the way you're gonna receive it back. If you go into it with love, you're gonna get all the love.
Yeah.
But if you go into it with aggression, you're gonna get some pushback with it, and it's gonna potentially hurt your partner's feelings.
But sometimes even if you do go into it with love, I think that it can still be like, just if a person is already feeling insecure, they still might take it personal.
I get that. I can get that 100%, and I don't mean to sound harsh when I say that, but that's a
Yeah.
them thing.
Yeah, that's a fact.
That's them, because
what
if you all are sexually engaged and you guys have had conversations, and your man or your woman tells you, I don't like when you do this, or I like it when you do this, if you're taking that the wrong way, it shouldn't be about insecurity, so to say, but you should be able to understand, just on a mature level, maybe we're not sexually yoked. Maybe our sexual energy isn't off. It doesn't necessarily mean that he's bad in bed or she's bad in bed. Maybe we just bad in bed together.
So what's your solution to that?
I mean, hey, y'all, this may sound very horrible, but I believe in test driving the car before you
Listen.
Ain't nothing wrong with test drive. You got to test drive. You don't want to commit to this. You don't want to commit to this long-term obligation, right? And you don't even know how to car drive. So, no, I don't think it's... Go ahead.
I was going to say, but what if they get in the relationship and then, I don't know, something changes up sexually, like maybe the guy doesn't like doing something anymore, or the girl don't like doing something anymore, like, what would be the suggestion then?
So, this is not just around sex. And this is something that is, if you ever talk to myself or my husband about love and conditional love or unconditional love. So he actually changed my perspective on this, just real shit, right? And I appreciate him for this, because it gave me a completely different outlook on maintaining relationships, not maintaining a relationship with him necessarily, but maintaining all relationships. There's conditions to things. Now, if somebody is tragically hurt, or if something, happens to somebody physically where they just can't perform, I feel that's a little bit different. But if your partner loves fellatio, and you've been doing it and popping it off and doing your best, right? And then all of a sudden you're like, nah, I don't like that. You need to first tell them why you don't like to do it. Okay, are we dealing with a body odor? Are we dealing with some weight gain, some weight loss? What are we dealing with that has made you get to the point where you no longer like this? Because you was fine doing it for the first 2 years. Now you just don't like it, right? So why don't you like it?
Yeah.
And are you saying that I'm not going to receive this anymore? Right? I need clarity. We need to ask clarifying questions. And that's where some kind of conditions come in. People have to be, first of all, people have to realize you don't own nobody.
That's a fact.
You don't own nobody. I don't care if you're married. I don't care if they're your children, your sister. We don't own people. And so if somebody decides like, hey, you're not pleasing me. Okay, can we figure out a way so that you can please me? Okay, we can't. You don't want to do it. Then you have to be honest with yourself. Are you going to be able to maintain that relationship not getting what you really want?
Yeah.
Sometimes people, it hurts more to hold on too tight than it does to just untie or let go.
That is a fact. Somebody said, y'all funny tonight. You know what? Sex, it do sell, because y'all got all the thoughts tonight, okay? I used to be reckless, laugh out loud. I used to move my ex's head around like a joystick till he spot. Now looking back, it was mean. I mean,
but did he have a problem with it?
Yeah. Have you tried manifestation work with sex?
Okay, so that kind of goes to what Bob was saying. And he gonna be like, so y'all just not gonna answer my question. So have you tried it? You want to go first?
I want you to go first.
Why you want me to go?
Because I just feel like, just do it.
So I've done it. I've done manifestation work by myself with sex. I feel like masturbation is sex with someone you truly love more than probably anybody on earth. So I've done it by myself, and I've done it consciously and unconsciously with my partner. Meaning, okay, we about to do this together. This is the vision. This is what we're going to think about, right? And then also, just because I want some extra shit to pop off, and I'm not going to tell you, but I'm going to make it pop off and when I pop off.
Yeah.
Right? So that's creation. When you are releasing, when you're orgasming, to put that thought, to have that thought, I look at the whole act before that orgasmic moment is putting all the pieces in order and thinking about what that is. And then as you begin to release it, it's almost like releasing it out into the world so that it can come to fruition. So that's a beautiful way to manifest things with your partner, collectively, or by yourself.
Yeah. I was going to say, I definitely have done sex magic with myself for sure. And it's very intentional, and I want to set the mood right, and I know exactly what I'm trying to manifest. That's great. I feel like if you don't have a partner where y'all are on the same level, you know what I'm saying? And if y'all don't have this sexual chemistry, I feel like it'll be really hard for you to practice sex magic, especially if you with somebody that's because a lot of people, and I have been in relationships like this where it's like that person is like an energy vampire, or you know what I'm saying? It's just not good energy. So it's it's kind of not safe to me to practice that with somebody like that. But I have practiced with somebody before, and it was really beautiful. And it was a lot of sensual, tantric, breathing. It was so much more before even getting into the actual sex. It was a whole ritual behind that. Breathing, touching, orgasmic breaths, something that was very intentional and beautiful. So yeah, but I really like doing it by myself. I'll say that.
It's, the thing is, what I realized, in some of our more intimate spaces with women and sisters is the level of comfort or discomfort that we have with ourselves. Some women have never looked at their body in a mirror. Some women have never looked at their body in the mirror in a sexual way. Some women are turned on by their own bodies, and so your face. So it all of that matters. How comfortable are you with yourself that you can really know the power that you hold in your creative space? I think you just froze, or I froze.
I'm here.
Okay.
Yeah, a lot of women, that's an episode on Sex in the City too with Charlotte. She didn't want to look at her vagina.
Put them in the mirror. Yeah.
She was like, it's ugly.
I remember this.
And then she went to a doctor, and they said that her vagina was depressed, and she had to basically build a relationship with it. And she put a little mirror. Actually, when I used to do my twerk and tarot workshop, that was one of the things that I put in the gift bag, was a handheld mirror for everyone to be able to look at themselves and gain a relationship. This is a portal. It's beautiful. But yeah, I have definitely done sex magic with myself. I like doing that. And in the mirror too. It's great. Okay. Looking at myself, saying my affirmations. And yes, you do it at the peak of orgasm is when you want to, speak what you want out loud. And I think that it's hard to do it with a partner who doesn't understand. Because, you might be, please, I don't get that spiritual stuff. That's weird, or they're uncomfortable with talking. I just realized some people don't like talking during sex. Or I'm a Gemini moon, so I like talking, but I didn't know that people didn't like talking during sex.
Yeah. it's, I mean, it, and also I think it's important to know what stimulates your partner so that you can do that.
Mhm.
But so one of the things that I like to do was, or is, when it comes to that point where you reach your peak, even if you don't want to verbally say out loud what it is that you're trying to manifest, you can visualize what that look
Yeah.
like, what that looks like, that reality looks like. So if it's a particular dollar amount, for example, that you want into your bank account, when you get to that point of orgasm, then visualize your bank account with that number in it. You,
Yeah.
instead of necessarily saying it out loud. So you can do one or the other way.
I like visualizing money falling all over me while I'm laying down in the bed.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And
Raining, y'all.
somebody said that they can't, it's some kind of training, because they can't think of $1 billion at the same time. The goal isn't, you don't have to, you could do what you do, but the moment that you're about to orgasm, allow yourself to go into that place where you can think about what you want to manifest.
Before that, with regardless of any manifestation, whether it's sexual manifestation or just trying to manifest in general, a lot of people have to do inner work to actually allow themselves to have more. A lot of us have wounds when it comes to that, especially depending on the environment that you were raised in. If you haven't like ever seen, you know, your family own a car or a house or have a lot of money or allowed you to cultivate that type of mindset, that's for ever even practicing manifestation regularly or sexual manifestation. And so sitting with yourself and telling yourself that you approve of yourself and you value yourself and you're worthy of having those things first is going to be good, because you can't, like, I think that that's the problem with talking about manifestation in this community right now, is like, oh, if you see it, or all you got to do is manifest. But it's like a lot of people are coming from having a lack mindset. That's the whole purpose of doing shadow work as well.
Mm-hmm.
You really healthily manifest anything if you haven't done shadow or inner work to say that you can have more, even if you didn't come from more. So
Yeah, and that's a great point. It goes to how people, you want to put the carriage before the horse, they say, right? You want to walk before you crawl. It's like you have to do what's necessary. You have to clean something out to put something in.
mm-hmm.
Both of them aren't going to take up the same space at the same time. So really figuring out, a lot of people, like you said, they don't have the self-worth to believe that they deserve those particular things. Some people, when it comes to visualization, can't even fathom what that life looks like.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever that life is for themselves, they don't even know what it looks like to begin to manifest it. They just know they want it.
Yeah. Somebody just said, do you know the angels of the highest good love, the energy of sex? Do you know that? Yeah. Do you know the connection between the divine and sex? Funny that because I have this book here called Enlightenment Through Ecstasy, Sex, Magic, and Spirit. I've posted this on my story several times. I'm going to post it on my story again. But yeah. Do you want to?
I got nothing about no angels. I'm sorry. I know a lot of people. I don't mean that. I don't know, a lot of people are into archangels and stuff like that. That's a very Eurocentric ideal of energy that I don't conform to. I do get the idea of it,
Mm-hmm.
but that's not something that I'm not into archangels at all.
All right. Well,
Or
there's.
angels.
I'm,
We can talk about some ancestors. We can talk about some faculties, some deities, some gods, but not necessarily angels.
you know any archangels that's about sexual energy? Neither. I'm into, like, I have been studying archangels, but I can't say that I know one that governs that area yet. I'm going to look into it. But yeah, I would recommend this book that I'm going to post on my story for sure. Um, so with, then we covered a lot. We went through the chakras and astrology. We went through different celebrities. We went through feet fetishes. Okay. Do y'all have any questions on here? that y'all want to share? Y'all have any questions about kinks? Do you have any questions about your sex life? Because clearly we might have some answers or not. It'll
I
be
think also one of the things that we did at the last retreat that I felt like was really eye-opening was the way that you helped us to break down our sign, house, and our degree, right? So we were able to put all those things together so that we can fully understand. And I know for me, I was able to gain a lot of clarity when it came to who I was, the reason behind my sexuality, not sexuality, that's not the word, my sexual energy.
yeah.
I was able to get a lot of clarity from that. And it was like, oh,
That makes sense.
all of
Like
this just makes perfect sense now.
some people who have Venus in a more cerebral sign, like a Virgo or an air sign or something like that, y'all probably need intellectual stimulation before being able to be like turned on in your body first. Like, you know, something like that. Like, you got to be able to have a good connection. We're not just going to go straight into having sex. Like, that's not the type of energy that you have. For me, having Venus and Scorpio, I like to, Venus and Scorpio is crazy. I like to have a deep connection with somebody. But really, it's like Scorpio's rule psychology. So it's really me studying and observing a person and like, I don't know what will push them to certain limits and like what it's just a lot. Like it's like all like, can I reveal some of the things that you tried to hide? That's something that like gets me going, you know. I got Suki Hana's chart pulled up on my thing right now. Her Venus is actually in Libra. That's cute. Mm-hmm. Venus is naturally ruled by Libra.
Yeah.
But house, that's Scorpio. So, you know, but Venus and Libra is cute. That's about aesthetic. You know, we want to make sure that the vibe is right. We need candles. We need incense. We got to have the mood light. We want music. Like, we want to set the whole thing. But with it being in the 8th house, she might get into some kinky, like, BDSM stuff, too.
Yeah. I can't remember exactly the house. Whatever house it is, I know it's ruled by Virgo, and my Venus is in Virgo, ruled by whichever house is ruled by Virgo. So it's one of those very,
I wonder if it was the 9th house.
I don't know, but it's very service oriented.
What your human design was?
It ain't what it seems.
What it say?
Right angle cross of penetration.
Penetration. I said you ain't never said the words to me before. What?
I don't know why it sounds like that. No, because what happens is, and this is random, but projectors, their energy penetrates the energy, the auric field of other people, so that they can understand. So that they can understand how to help them.
Wait, so does human design talk about sex at all?
I haven't found it yet. I haven't, but you know what the thing is? It does go into all of it. It covers every planet of the zodiac, including Earth North and South Node. So I wouldn't see why it wouldn't. You know, this is still a study for me. But
husband, my Corey is in here. That's my sister husband. Her husband Aquarius. So you like untraditional relationships. You got the futuristic type of love. Like you might want a more open situation or a poly situation, if you will. And it's in the 2nd house, which is Taurus. So that rules like sensuality. Like you might like to eat during sex.
What's funny is Karina not gonna kill me, but that's my player from the Himalayas over there.
I just had my first kiss 2 weeks ago. I'm 31 with a 10-year-old. But I don't understand tongue kissing, but I love fellatio. What could that be attributed to?
Wait a minute. I just want to make sure we're clear. You just had your first kiss 2 weeks ago? at 31 and you have a 10-year-old, so that means that you've been having sex.
Nobody's ever kissed you?
And you haven't been kissed, you haven't been tongue. Okay. That's a lot to.
Why? Is it because you avoided kissing, or did the people or the person that you were with before didn't like kissing? Because that's like a deep form of oh, you don't like it.
Do you know why you don't? Have you never liked it? Do you have are you concerned about people's oral hygiene or something? No, seriously, because some people don't want to kiss. You avoid it. So what made you do it 2 weeks ago?
They like fellatio.
Yeah. What made you do the kiss 2 weeks ago? If you've been avoiding it, you must like them.
That's intimate, Khadija. So maybe they are avoiding, like, to kiss somebody is like, that's a form of intimacy. It might be easier to disconnect and just feel like you having sex versus like opening yourself up to somebody, I guess, mouth wide.
I don't know that,
because they want
okay. That makes me want to talk to them like on another level, because I want to know how did you get to the point where you were so comfortable with allowing somebody to explore your body in a sexual way, and was there ever any real connection made in your sexual life?
What are you doing?
Okay, that's they say yes, I have intimacy issues. Yeah.
Intimacy issues. That's just like anybody who will have a one-night stand. Like, you'll let somebody, that you don't know explore you, and it's not an intimate thing. It's just like you experience something. Like, that's not super far-fetched that a person.
So is having a one-night stand, would you say having a one-night stand is more of an intimacy issue, or is that more of a self-control and self-worth?
I mean, it could be both. There's people who just have like sex buddies or whatever, and it's like, but y'all don't do anything else. And sometimes it's warranted, like that's just where you are in your life. But I know a lot of people who have those, and it's like, so you don't feel worthy of like somebody actually getting to know you, to talk to you. Like, getting to know somebody is like way too intimate, but for some reason we're desensitized to sex because it's everywhere. So it's like, I'd rather give you my body than for you to actually like get to know me and talk to me and hear my inner thoughts, because that's like, you'll get to see me fully versus like sex for some reason, because we're just.
So you could say TMI if it's TMI. So you ain't never had no cuddy buddy?
I've never had a one night stand. That's a fact.
Okay, but you ever had a cuddy buddy?
That you in my business, and I don't like that.
Okay. No, I said like, you can tell me TMI. You can say TMI. Hell, I'm.
But I will say that in my sexual career, anybody that I've been sexual with, we have a connection. Like, I ain't never just. I can't say that I've ever just like had sex with somebody and been like, yeah, I'm out. Like, we have talked. What?
Your brother, and I can hear him, and I can hear his whole commentary. I'm in your room, and he's in our room, and I can hear like the whole commentary. So I'm just kind of laughing at him. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's people can have. People, Karina, I think people can have, comfortable, casual sex partners that they may share levels of intimacy with, that they're not committed to, that they may not want to get to know like that, that they may not want to, dive. I mean, hey, I'm gonna just say this, right? I got a shirt that says "Retired Hot Girl" for a reason, and your brother can have one too that say "Retired Hot Boy," because we both know where we have been at these 40 plus something years of life in our, as you would say, sexual career. And so I don't think it's anything wrong with having a casual sex partner, as long as you're very well aware of what you're doing and the intention behind it, and still have levels of self-worth. It's not just somebody who is, if he using you for sex, you need to be using him for sex too. It don't need to be just, no intention or no awareness behind the exchange that you two have. But I don't think it's anything wrong with that. I don't think I feel like it's levels to everything though. When you're talking about like sex work, I lived in Atlanta for 17 years. So I saw sex work on so many different levels. I saw women who were putting themselves through school and who worked in a strip club, right? Atlanta has a very huge strip club culture. It's not, while it is a lot of sexual energy, I feel like it becomes like very normalized in some kind of way. And so I saw women who were putting themselves through school for while they were working at the strip club. But then I also saw women who left the strip club, went on, pursued their careers, and were successful engineers or doctors or whatever they were in school for. But I've also seen women who got into the culture of Atlanta strip life and stayed there and pretty much retired from that place.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's about the intention that you're going into any sexual relationship exchange or anything like that isn't a committed situation, and being mindful and aware of what you're getting yourself into and the energy behind that. Now, I do think it could be a conflict when you're really trying to get yourself to a place spiritually and emotionally, and you're not mindful of how you're utilizing your sexual energy. You're not mindful of, I'm at this place where I treat my body this certain way and I just need, somebody to fuck on, right? Yeah. So that becomes a little different. That can also hinder your spiritual growth, because what kind of energy exchange is going on there? So it's levels to it.
I see that they said that's what jump-started the celibacy, realizing I never felt safe enough with my partners. Everyone wanted to fuck on me. No one wanted to know me. Aww. Well, I'm happy.
There's so many questions behind this particular person that I want to ask, but I would prefer to ask in private. So you're more than welcome, if you would like, to DM me, because I would like to ask you a couple of other questions to understand. Because the things that, with all of the different facts that are being given, there's some underlying things that have happened that haven't been expressed here, and you don't have to express those here, but I'm more than happy to have a conversation with you about what that looks like for you.
Someone said, y'all stop laughing at me for saying sexual career. You know what I mean. Sexual shit.
Girl, it's okay. You had a sexual career.
Whatever. Someone said, yes, I used to not want to be kissed. Now we married and I want to kiss. That's fair.
Yeah.
Karina, that's not your room. And so there's that. That's cute.
Y'all, the room that I'm in is the room that Solaris is in when she's here at our home. But her, what you call her, your sister husband? Yeah. It's her room when she's here. So really, they share a room when they both here.
That's crazy.
I don't know why they acting.
Whatever. Okay. I guess they're gonna message you privately.
Yeah, because I genuinely want to know, and I'm interested because you're the one who just came on here.
That I don't think that they meant.
Is that what you meant?
They meant came like they just arrived into their.
No, but it would have been. I feel like it would have been they just arrived, but then after they said they broke their 3-year celibacy. Like, how did we get that? How did we pull that out?
Maybe they meant came like they just masturbate earlier today.
Okay.
Say something. Don't laugh. No, I mean came out of my see. Look at us. Maybe we the ones that's messed up. No, I mean came out of my celibacy. See, we fucked that up.
Oh, okay.
I knew that you got Scorpio, because I knew that that's not what they.
I was taken aback.
You stopped me from talking to look at that comment. That's funny.
Want to know what happened. But does anybody else have any more questions? Baba, you got something? You said you was gonna get out here.
I ain't got his questions.
Oh.
Baba questions too hard for my brain. He coming in there?
No. He said nah. Nah, but yeah, so in kind of wrapping this up, what I think is really important is to, first of all, if you're dealing with any kind of womb diseases, any kind of sacral concerns, um, if you have any suppressed or any sexual trauma that you have not overcome, before you can begin to use your sexual energy for manifestation or to try to create the life you want, or if you're wondering why you have a hard time trying to figure out your passion or your creative route, those are the things that you're going to want to look at so that you can better understand your body, better understand your energy centers, so that you can open that area up, because it's a huge area of opportunity that's just blocked and clogged. And so you want to kind of clean all that out so you can have some nice free flowing energy and be able to manifest and create.
Sorry, y'all. My phone was going to die. Okay.
Somebody asked something.
It's hard to deal with. Hold on. It's hard to deal with because it was hard to make him understand. Okay. Maybe hard to make him understand why I didn't want to kiss. Now, if I want to kiss, I gotta explain that.
Do you feel like you have to explain it every time?
So he didn't want to kiss either. Then y'all bonded over non-kissing.
It could have been intellectual stimulation.
Or that. I mean, it could have been all of that. I'm just saying that.
But that goes back to the conversation that we were having about if somebody, switches it up, because we were saying if somebody does something for you and then they stop, but what if it's something that, you've never done with your partner and it's your newfound thing, your newfound fix, so to say, and your partner's not into it, then what?
I mean, y'all gonna have to have some real clear lines of communication about what needs to happen. Somebody gonna have to compromise. I want to kiss, damn it. That's what you gotta say. Let me see. Dang, I just joined the room. When's the next live on this?
Next time.
Yeah. People just love talking about sex.
I think that's a beautiful thing. It's just making sure that it's used in the right way.
I'm gonna save this live on my page. This was a beautiful live, actually, very free flowing, and I feel like we dropped a lot of gems in here, and we got to know, y'all got to know a lot about us, I think.
Yeah, and just so you know, this is the same energy that kind of happens within our chakra cosmology class. Yes. The beautiful thing about the chakra cosmology class is it'll go a lot deeper. You'll be able to receive assessments, both astrology and chakra assessments, so you can better understand yourself, so you can know how to tap into your creative power. We're going to get into sexual energy. We're going to get into self-worth and all that stuff. So that's a huge opportunity to come together and really begin to dissect yourself in different ways.
Come together.
What? See your ass. Let's come together.
Neither one of y'all say fellatio in real life. I can't stand it.
No, I don't say no fellatio.
That's the first time I've heard sensuality broken down from a conscious perspective. I'm intrigued. Oh,
thank you.
Well, yeah, thank you for both of your time. Yes, I'm going to save this live on my page, and I'm going to put up my book recommendation called Sex, Magic, and Spirit. And if you have any books that you recommend, just talking about sexual energy and connection and all of that stuff, you can put it on.
Well, hold on. Mm-hmm. I do have something.
Okay.
So when you use your sexual energy, right? And you create these many people, they need to know about themselves.
Period.
Bam.
Ew.
They need to know about themselves. And as you rediscover yourself,
yes,
into learning. And then we have the chakra cosmology course. So the fun thing about, and this is a little pat on our back, but the fun thing that I really appreciate about Solaris and I is these are our everyday conversations. And even outside of the class, I feel like this is something that we're going to continue, because our conversations are never really surface level. So she would text me these long ass questions like, okay, what are your thoughts on this? And it'll be like a short, you know how when you get the message, if you press more, it say notes. It'll damn near be one of those. And so these conversations that we're doing are conversations that we would have anyway. And we just wanted to welcome other people to experience what that is. We're both very passionate about our individual studies. And so we like to compare our studies together so that we can better understand all of these different systems that we both study. In saying that, taking the chakra cosmology course is a 4-week course.
Yep.
It is 2 days a week starting at 8:00 p.m. Central Time, and it is a 2-hour course. However, 2 hours, 2 days a week, and for 4 weeks, the course is $150. So,
which is great.
It's a very intimate course. Each week or each day of the week, you get homework. We go over that homework. You can have one-on-one time and all that good stuff. So please take advantage of this. We'll be dropping a couple of little, because I think both of us, I know, she speaks astrology, I speak chakras, I speak human design, she speaks tarot. And so whenever we're talking and having these conversations, those are the things that are always popping up. And I feel like in this amount of time, because my mind went a bunch of places that were completely off track, but I was like, okay, no, we're talking about sex tonight. We're not talking about, you know, all these other things, even though we did kind of veer off. So please take full advantage of that. And we also have coming up our retreat in September 29th through October 2nd. And that is a complete vibe. It's for women. The chakra cosmology class is for men and women, but the retreat is for women. And it is probably one of the, and this isn't because I've facilitated, but it is probably one of the most fulfilling moments to really embrace sisterhood and intimacy amongst women that I have ever experienced. And she's participated, but it's just such a vibe. It's like after the weekend, the relationships that develop are amazing. Hell, Solaris and Karina became sister, husband, wife things, whatever they are, because of them meeting at the retreat. So,
I cried when the retreat was over, y'all. Like
a couple of sisters did. It is such an amazing experience to just, I feel like we're there from Friday to Monday, but it feels like maybe a whole week has gone by, how much stuff we covered and how close we get. So those are the things that we have going on outside of these lives. We got 1,001 topics, so the lives will continue irregardless of the retreat and the class. But if you want to, you know, touch in on a more intimate level, those are definitely your resources.
Yep. Somebody asked about the U-book. The U-book is what I wrote. It's a children's astrology book, and you can purchase that on my page if you click the link in my bio.
Yes.
So yeah, you did.
And this, and I do have to one more time bring it back because I kind of just browse past it. But this is Professor Keparat L's A Hybridized Mind, and it goes into a lot of esoteric ancient studies, the chakra system, the Kabbalah. Man, I can't even begin.
Talk about sex in there.
You talk about, so I be getting in trouble because I ain't read. The book has 578 pages, okay? So if he talk about sex, I didn't get to it yet. But it's so many different things that you can dive into within this. He says sex is page 535.
I was gonna say he covered everything.
Yeah, he literally does cover any and everything. This is fluoride and chemtrails. I'm just reading a couple of the random.
A Hybridized Mind.
Yes.
And you can get that on you can click on Khadidra's page or on his page to get the book.
The next title I came up on, A Metaphysical Approach to Health for the Psychology, Biology, and Spiritual Mindset of Melanated People. It's a very, very intense book. I'm talking about the Council of Nicaea, alien invasions,
all of the shit
adrenochrome, everything you can think of is off in here. So that's all we got for y'all. You got anything else?
Nope, I think we did it all. This was lovely. I like this. I like talking about sex. This is great.
I know you like talking about sex.
We're
do
gonna do it
too.
again.
We are. You know, it's because something different happens after 40 sexually. But anyway, I love you.
I love you too.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, Baba is hilarious. He know the exact page and everything. Does it have Ifa?
He's got jokes.
Does Baba talk about Ifa in his book?
Do you go into Ifa? I don't. He may talk. Do you talk about Ifa in here, Baba? Yes, that's what he said. He actually talks about anything and everything related to melanated beings in this here year of, from I guess 2019, 2018 up into 2023.
Mm-hmm.
If it's something that Black people, melanated people have been talking about when it comes to spiritual consciousness, I can promise you it's in this book.
It's in there. He got everything in there.
He does.
All right, y'all. Well, I
Peace.
love y'all, and I'm going to save this live, and y'all look out for, we're supposed to do this on Monday. We're going to do the next one next Monday, so.
Okay. That's what we'll do. And we'll see y'all soon. I hope, what's your catch? You still ain't got it. Did you get it yet? Okay. I hope to make you all tea one day. Peace.